Day 97 of our journey through the Bible, and we are in the book of Job. This is a book that can be considered to be similar to the script of a play. Now, by that, I don't mean that it is a fictional work. Job is a real person. He probably lived, in fact, we're almost certain he lived prior to Abraham. That makes his faith very significant. The book of Job begins with two introductory chapters. They are in that form of narrative, of prologue, and they set the stage for the rest of the book. Chapters 3 through 37 form the main body of the work. These chapters are poems in the form of dramatic dialogues between Job and his friends. And then there are four additional chapters containing God's response to their arguments. They are also written in poetic form. The book finally ends then with a final narrative that tells us what happened to Job after these discussions had ended. A couple things that we want to consider. Job is noted for his perseverance and unwavering faith in God. It wasn't easy, but in spite of his suffering and certainly a number of times where he felt real frustration and doubt, he still stands strong in his faith and trust in God. He is described as a man in the land of Uz, and the greatest of all the people of the East. This area that he lived in was probably a region in Edom. He certainly was a prosperous man. He had 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, 500 female donkeys, and a large household consisting of 7 sons and 3 daughters. It also says he was blameless and upright, and one who feared God and shunned evil. Satan is also described in the book of Job, and he is pictured as one who roams the face of the earth, but he is still subject to God and has to report to him. Satan suggests to God that Job would remain righteous as long as it was financially profitable for him to do so, but that when it really cost something, that his faith would disappear. It was out of that the Lord permitted Satan to try Job's faith in God. Blow after blow fell upon Job, his children, his servants, his livestock. Everything was taken from him. He's left penniless. Nevertheless, the Bible says, in all this, Job did not sin nor charge God with wrong. Satan continued his assault by sneering, "Touch his bone and his flesh, and he will surely curse you to your face, God." The Lord allowed Satan to afflict Job with painful boils from the sole of his foot to the crown of his head, so that Job sat in the midst of ashes and scraped his sores with a piece of pottery. Satan certainly is a roaring lion who goes through the earth seeking to destroy and not bless us. Finally, we should note some of the supposed sources of religious authority in Job. First, we see his wife. She brings absolutely no comfort to her husband. She asks, "Do you still hold fast to your integrity? Curse God and die." But Job refused to curse God. "Shall we indeed accept good from God?" he replied, "and shall we not accept adversity?" After the account of the disasters have come upon him, Job's 3 friends, Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar, arrive to mourn with him and to offer their comfort. They are accompanied by a brash young recording secretary named Elihu, who rebukes everyone and inserts his own theories about Job's problem. But instead of comforting Job, these friends launch into long lectures and philosophical debates to show Job the reason for his suffering. We'll continue tomorrow talking about this fascinating book. But as we finish, let's go to Job 38, where we hear God's response to not only his friends, but to Job's questions as well. Verse 1, "Then the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind and said, 'Where were you when I laid the foundation of the earth? Tell me if you have understanding. Who determined its measurement? Surely you know. Or who stretched the line upon it? On what were its bases sunk, and who laid its cornerstone, when the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of God shouted for joy? Or who shut in the sea with doors when it burst out from the womb, when I made clouds its garment, and thick darkness its swaddling band, and prescribed limits for it, and set bars and doors, and said, Thus far shall you come, and no farther, and here shall your proud waves be stayed? Have you commanded the morning since your days began, and caused the dawn to know its place? Have you entered into springs of the sea, or walked in the recesses of the deep? Have the gates of death been revealed to you, or have you seen the gates of deep darkness? Can you bind the chains of Pallades or loose the cords of Orion? Do you know the ordinances of heaven? Can you establish their rule on the earth? Can you send forth lightnings that they may go and say to you, here we are? Who has put wisdom in the inward parts, or given understanding to the mind?